Hey guys, Linda here. Welcome back to Adora. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. But today I want to come and do my first video of the year. I know everyone set goals and stuff, but I don't set too many goals. Only goals I have is that I don't want to say it's a goal, but I just want to keep posting a video every week, or one or two videos. And I know I had said I'm gonna post on Wednesday, but that hasn't been working, so I'm not gonna give a date I'm gonna post. I'm just gonna try to post every week, maybe one video a week. Maybe sometime I have two, but it's gonna be one video a week. I'm not gonna give a day because usually I'll be posting on the weekend because I never make it through the week. So let's just cancel out Wednesday. Yeah, let's just cancel that out because I never make it. So I'm just gonna post once a week. Hopefully, my fingers crossed. Um, and today I'm just going to do a wrap up for December. I still got my Christmas stuff up. That's why I kept it up. I wanted to do my December wrap up. I did read Lydia Drake, Cinderella, and the Duke. This is from my all of these are from my TBR. I did stay on my TBR a little bit. So I had Lydia Drake, Cinderella, and the Duke. This was okay. I gave this a 3.5. It says Cinderella, so you know it's based on a telling of Cinderella. You got the stepmom who doesn't like the stepdaughter, but in this one, her and her sister do get along. This is on what is her name? Julia Beaumont and Gregory Carter. And Julia does get along with her. She has a stepsister. She does get along with the stepsister. They are good friends. And then this one, the stepmother has kept her from going out and doing her debut. I guess you have your little debut in the old days. Said back in those days, you get to have your debut out into society, but she never gets to do that because her dad has passed. Of course, her dad has passed away, so she doesn't get to do her debut. I don't think did she do it once, and that was it. She didn't get to do it. I don't forget how it was, but she hasn't got to meet anyone, a husband or anything. So she thinking she's gonna end up staying there taking care of the stepmother while her stepsister, she's having her debut. So she's like the stepmother gets sick, so she has to become her sister's chaperone. So that's how she ends up meeting Gregory. Because other than that, if the mother had been all right, she would have took her daughter to the party and been her chaperone. But since the stepmother was sick, Julia ends up taking her stepsister, being her chaperone at this party, and that's where she meets Gregory Carter. They hit it off. He's kind of like a playboy. All the women are after him. It was a little over the top how women was after him. It was a little over the top. I'm like, okay, really? And eventually, I think he ends up coming to her house to see her. And instead of him proposing to her, she ends up proposing to him. And so you have a marriage of convenience. Because at first he was like, I don't know, but she said, I can help you out and keep the women from running after you, and you can help me out to get out of this household from being with my stepmother. Even though, she loves her sister, she's like, I need to get out of here to keep her from becoming a spinster. So it goes from there. Like I said, start out as a marriage convenient, but they end up sleeping together, end up falling in love. It was okay. Didn't have those I always talk about special moments. This didn't have those special moments. I did enjoy Lydia Drake's writing, so I will be reading some more of her books. I did enjoy the writing, but this one just didn't push it over the top for me. I only gave it a 3.5. I would recommend it. It's just a regular romance, nothing fantastic or spectacular that I could rave about. Like I said, no special moments, but I give it a 3.5. I would recommend it if you want to check it out. And it does have a little bit of sexual content in here. I don't think it was too over the top, but it does have sexual content if you don't like that in your books. Next, I have Sabrina Jefferies, Beware a Scott. I don't think this up. I don't want to knock over anything. I don't think this is in a series. I don't think so. But I'll link all that below. Usually I write it down. I didn't get the chance to write it down this time, but I'll link it below if this is in a all of these books are in a series. And I know these three are in a series. I can't remember if this one is in a series or not. But this is in a series. I don't know what book it is in the series. Like I said, I'll link it below if you want to know what book it is in the series. This is in the School of Aries series. I think it's book 3 or 4. I'm not for sure. Beware a Scot. I did enjoy this one. If you like a Scottish hero, because the hero is Scottish, this is gonna, like I said in the title here, revenge. He's out for revenge against the female's father. Her name is Vanita Campbell, and the main male character is Lackland Ross. This one started out with him and her meet at a party. She ends up, because her dad is from Scotland also, but he hasn't been back to Scotland since his wife passed away. He's been living in England. And so him and his daughter, they haven't been back to Scotland. So, but what her name is again? Vanita ends up going to Scotland with her aunt. They go to, I forgot what they go for, but they go to a party, somebody having a party, and they end up going to Scotland. Her dad finally lets her go to Scotland because I don't think he wanted her to go, but she ends up going to Scotland for this party, and that's where she meets Lackland. I think it's a mask party because I think they have masks on, and they end up hitting it off and talking, and I think they dance together or something, but eventually they end up kissing at this party. He knows who she is, but she doesn't know. She kind of, she said he looked familiar because they knew each other when they were kids. And she was saying, do I know you? And he was like, no, you don't know me. But anyway, they end up kissing. And then, like I said, they have an attraction for each other at this party, and she kind of like him. So the next day, her and her aunt go on a drive with another guy who was at the party, and ends up, Vanita gets separated from them, and she ends up getting kidnapped by Lackland. I can't pronounce his name. She ends up getting kidnapped by him. So it's a kidnapping going on. You got some revenge going on. He eventually tells her why he's kidnapping her, because he said that her dad owes his father. His father has passed away, but he owed his father some money because his father had lent her dad some money when he was having a hard time back in Scotland, when they all used to live beside each other, and his dad and her dad were best friends, but something happens and they have a falling out, and so her dad ends up not paying him back, Lackland's father back. And so he wants that money because his clan is going through a hard time right now. And he said he could use that money for his clan to help his people. So she ends up getting kidnapped by him. And eventually, of course, they're going to fall for each other. And it's going to go from there. And this is another one. I enjoyed this a little bit better than I enjoyed the Cinderella and the Duke. I did enjoy this. I gave this a high 3.5, 4-star. I really did enjoy it, but it didn't have those special moments for me either, but I did enjoy this a little bit more. It had a lot more going on. Like I said, she gets kidnapped by him. They're on the road for a little while. He ends up kind of falling for her, and kind of feeling guilty about kidnapping her. I really did enjoy it. I highly recommend this one. I like Sabrina Jefferies' writing anyway. I'm a big fan of hers, and I've been trying to read this whole series. So I'm just on the third, I think like this is third or fourth book. I highly recommend it. I gave it a high 3.5, 4-star. And like I said, if you like Scottish heroes, I think this would be a good book for you to read. And if you like those the male character trying to have something against the female character's family, and he's trying to get revenge to her, but he ends up falling in love with her, I think you'll enjoy this. Sabrina Jefferies, Beware Scott. Next, I finally finished this series. This is the Lower League. This is book number 3 in the Lower League series by Alyssa Cole. I enjoyed this one. Book number 1 was okay. I think I gave that a 3.3 stars, and I enjoyed the second book and the third book better than I enjoyed the first book. So I really enjoyed the second book, and I enjoyed this book right here. If you if you don't like reading about slavery, this might not be for you, because it got a lot of mention of slavery going on in this book. It's set back in the slavery time. You got Daniel Cumberland. He's a free slave. He ends up getting kidnapped and taken to the South, ends up becoming a slave. It don't really go into it, kind of tell you what happened to him, but it don't really, the story is not set there. You just find out that's what happened to him, and he ends up joining the Loyal League, fighting against slavery. And it's also on Janetta Sanchez. She's a Cuban. Her father is a rich plantation owner. He came over from Cuba, and I think her mother is black, because she mentioned that her mother was a slave, but her father, he's a planter. He ended up marrying her mother. So she was brought up, she wasn't in slavery. She was brought up as a rich person, with her father being the plantation owner. And when she would ask about the slave, they would just, talk over it like that's how life was supposed to be when you're having slaves and stuff like that. And as she grew up, she kind of knew something was wrong, but she never did anything about it. She ends up falling or going with this Southern guy, and she ends up spying for the South. And that's how her father gets taken captive by the North, because they said, somebody in this family has been spying. They think it's her father, and that's how she ends up joining. She also ends up joining the Loyal League, because this guy who she was messing with, like I said, he's from the South. He wanted her to, he said he will help her father get out of jail if she would join the Loyal League and spy on them and let him know what's going on. But she doesn't do that. She eventually, as she become more and more immersed with the Loyal Leagues, and she find out more and more how slavery really is, no, she don't give him any information, and she ends up working with Daniel. Daniel and her become partners. They end up going further south on a mission for the Loyal League, trying to find out some information on Jefferson Davis. And the European going to be helping the South out. They travel south to find out more information, and they meet people who are in slavery there, and they help people. They've helped. They're going to help a couple of people escape. So I really, really did enjoy this. She eventually ends up telling him what's going on with her, and he tells her that the Loyal League already knew all about her. They just been keeping an eye on her, see what's going on. But I really did enjoy this story. Him and her getting together. She's a feisty female, and he has been damaged since he was kidnapped and put into slavery. So he really, really has a lot of anger going on inside of him about the whole situation. And you kind of got her being, I guess you can say, very I want to say sunshiny, but she's kind of very outgoing, and she brings him out of himself. So I really, really enjoyed this. This was excellent. If you don't mind reading about, I know some people don't like reading about slavery, but it didn't bother me. I enjoyed this story, An Unconditional Freedom. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend reading the series. Like I said, but book number 2 and number 3 is my favorite in this series, and this is by Alyssa Cole. The Loyal League series and Unconditional Freedom. I gave this a high 3.4, 4-star. Really enjoyed it. And last but not least, I got this novella by S.E. Wendell, Stoneheart. This is on a fae and a gargoyle falling in love. The female is the gargoyle, but as you can see, she's kind of human. And for her looking like this in her tribe, because the gargoyle, they have like that dark gray tint. So she was the outcast in her colony, where she come from. Even her mother treated her really bad, because her wings developed, because gargoyles are tall and muscular, but she was dainty, had small wings, had her little small wings and stuff like that. And so she was kind of like an outcast in her village, especially to her mom, because her mom treated her really bad, because she was, I guess she called her a weakling, because when you're a gargoyle, you're supposed to be strong and stuff. And her mother, that's just that her mother wasn't quite right. And then you also have Garavel. I hope I pronounced his name right. He's a fae. He's like an elf, and he's he lives underground. That's why it said under here. Him and his whole Fae colony, whoever the people that he's with, the Fae, are living underground because they, back in I don't know when it was, they got to fighting with some monsters or something, and to save them, their queen took them underground and used all her magic and stuff to heal up to seal up the so that the creatures or whoever were after them couldn't get in, to seal it up and keep them underground. So once she did that, they became a part of the under here. They became a part of that. So they really can't leave. So if they do leave, it will pull them back. They can't stay above ground for a long time. It will pull them back to the underground. So he's living underground, and he meets her because she goes to this well. She ended up going to a well and looking into the well, and she saw a face looking back at her, and it's him. So he's underground and she's above ground, and she have a falling out with her mother because she's supposed to be going. They're having some kind of, I guess, when you meet your mate. And she thought she was going to end up going there to meet her mate, but her mother locks her in, telling her she's not going to let her out. And I think she even slapped her or something. Her mother's not right, but she ends up escaping out of there, getting out of the room that she was locked in. She ends up going to the well because she done met him before, and she ends up going there to tell him goodbye. But something's happened, and the queen, the interim queen, because like I said, the Fae Queen had used all her power, so she's in a deep sleep right now. Her and her sister are both in a deep sleep, but I think her sister is somewhere else. But the main queen is in a deep sleep. So you got the interim queen, her niece, then took over, and let's just say she's not quite right, because she comes up with a spell where they eventually ends up coming above ground to attack the gargoyles. I forgot how they're connected with the gargoyle, but they think the gargoyles had something to do with them being put underground. So they're coming back. She did some kind of spell that made them be able to come above ground and attack the gargoyles. And when they are taking all their magic, and once they took all the gargoyles' magic, they turned the gargoyles into stone. But she wasn't there because, like I said, she ended up running away from home. So she wasn't at this party that she wanted to go to. So that's what they end up attacking, that party. And most of the gargoyles got turned to stone. But she hears all this commotion. So she comes back. And when she get back there, that's all she sees is a bunch of gargoyles turned to stone. And she finally see him in human form. And he's trying to talk to her and stuff. And she's running away from him. But he's trying to talk to her. But he don't get it explained because, like I said, they can't stay above ground too long. And the underground or the earth is pulling him back, so he don't get to really explain what happened because he get pulled back until all the Fae get pulled back until the underground. And so she ends up, all her people have been turned to stone, so she ends up wandering around by herself and ends up at this lake, and she ends up seeing him again in the lake. Eventually he tried to explain, and eventually she says his name a couple of times because of some magic, and she ends up pulling him from the underground because she repeated his name a lot. And then they end up making love. Well, not this time. They just end up talking to each other. But eventually, like I said, he have to go back. So he ends up going back underground. And he ends up, once he go back, he ends up going to the main queen. Like I said, she's in a deep sleep, but he ends up finding a way to get in there to talk, to try to meet her. And she communicates through one of her maids that have been looking after her. And she tells him that he needs to say, sorry, I think my camera, I don't know why my camera is going out. I don't know where it stopped at, but I was on the last part of this, of him buying in the 20th century. They make it to the 20th century. He ends up buying a museum. He put all the gargoyles in this museum because they figured out that if the gargoyles can meet their fated mate, maybe that will help break the spell and turn them into humans and not stone. So I think that's the second book in this series. I'll show it to you. This is the second book. It's a fuller book in the series. I want to read this one. This is called Heart Song. And this is the second book. I guess it's the Gargoyle Monster series. This is going to be the second book in the series. So as you can see, he's a gargoyle. I guess she goes to this museum and something happened between them two and they meet, I guess, and he becomes human. I guess that's how it's going to work. I haven't read this yet, but I will be putting this on. Maybe I'll put this on my January TBR. But I gave this a 3-star. I wanted more. Yeah, it didn't do it. It didn't have any special moments for me. It was just a little novella. I thought it was going to be more about him and her, or trying to be together, and maybe the underworld fighting, but it was mostly about them living for long times and just going into different centuries, trying to find, trying to break the spell of her people being turned to stone, and his people living underground, trying to get his people from underground. But that's all I have for now. I will be coming back with another video, letting you know my TBR for January. And I have read some books already in January from because I didn't finish all the book on my December TBR. I think I got about 5 or 6 books that I still need to read. I'll go back over them with you. I guess you get tired of seeing them same book, but I'll show it to them again, because some of you might haven't seen them. I don't know. And some new books that I've read that I've added to the TBR that came out and I wanted to read. But that's all I have for now. Like I said, I just gave this 3 stars. It was okay. I would recommend, if you like S.E. Wendell, you would probably enjoy it. It's just a little small novella. Was only, how many pages in here? Let's see here. It only 188. The whole story was like 188 pages. But that's all I have for now. We'll be coming back with another video. But until next time, keep reading those romance